मेरे देश के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स अब तो बहुत बड़ा बाजार खुल गया। अब बहुत सस्ते में हमारा माल पहुंच जाएगा। इतने भाव से वो बैठे न रहे। ये एक अवसर है और इस अवसर का सबसे पहला मंत्र ये होता है कि हम क्वालिटी पर बल दें। हम अब जब बाजार खुल गया है तो उत्तम से उत्तम क्वालिटी लेकर के बाजार में जाएं।
And viewers, this is Bharat in 1 minute. We get to what's happening across the nation. Let's get started. The death toll has reached 21 and about 27 people remain missing after fire broke out in the warehouse in Anandpur area of Kolkata. We see that they stated that they had lost 3 of their employees via Momo in the fire. 6 bodies have been sent for DNA tests so far and an investigation is underway. At least 10 passengers were injured when a private bus travelling to Bengaluru caught fire. There were 36 people on board at the time of the incident and no fatalities have been reported so far. Police stumbled upon the shocking triple murder of a couple from Bihar along with their son at Chennai. Victims who were migrant labourers from Bihar were murdered and the bodies were dumped across different locations in the vicinity. Police suspect that the crime was committed by individuals known to the victims. And viewers, as airlines continue to blackmail, the government maintains silence on the relaxations of the FDTL norms. That's coming up next. Do not go anywhere. We are live and we are breaking on India's #1 news network, Republic.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी। MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल।
ये रंग दे,
ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't stopped it. No, he debanked to me. So we'll see if that beats anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanked. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fall to have this great company and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
The lawsuit, filed on Thursday, January 22nd in Miami-Dade County State Court, centers on a controversial practice known as debanking. The president alleges that the bank has systematically denied services to him and his associated businesses, not because of financial risk, but due to political bias. This isn't just a dispute over a checking account. This is a high-stakes legal battle that accuses the largest bank in the United States of trade libel, bad faith, and violating state consumer protection laws. The core of the complaint is that J.P. Morgan Chase violated Florida's deceptive trade practices law. The legal team for the president argues that Florida law explicitly prohibits financial institutions from terminating accounts or denying services based on a person's political opinions, speech, or affiliations. According to the complaint reviewed by Blue.
The second question is concerned, we have taken that into consideration. When we projected 6.5% 3 years ago, we did so under the assumption that even at that point in time, we were realistic about the growth, export growth prospects, given the evolution of trade disputes. But now, we have been in the last few years signing a lot of free trade agreements.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला
Amity University has been ranked India's #1 university for business and economics and the #1 private university for computer science by Times Higher Education Subject Rankings 2026, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked standards in education.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जलजीरा मसाला
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't gone. No, he debanked me. So we'll see if that beeps anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanking. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fall to have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
The lawsuit, filed on Thursday, January 22nd in Miami-Dade County State Court, centers on a controversial practice known as debanking. The president alleges that the bank has systematically denied services to him and his associated businesses, not because of financial risk, but due to political bias. This isn't just a dispute over a checking account. This is a high-stakes legal battle that accuses the largest bank in the United States of trade libel, bad faith, and violating state consumer protection laws. The core of the complaint is that J.P. Morgan Chase violated Florida's deceptive trade practices law.
Supreme Court stays UGC promotion of equity regulations 2026, said the provisions are prima facie and capable of misuse. As airlines continue to blackmail, government maintains silence on relaxation of FDTL norms. (2023) crash report on Learjet highlights similar unexplained flip of aircraft as seen in 2026. No final report given. Is there a cover-up? Unexplained flips seen in 2023 and 2026. Learjet aircraft experts question why similar crashes took place. Sanjay Kapoor legacy battle in court. Delhi High Court issues summons to Priya Sajdev in plea filed by mother of Sanjay Kapoor, Rani Kapoor.
के साथ हुआ ये समझौता हमारे देश के मछुआरे, हमारे देश के किसान, हमारे देश के युवान, सर्विस सेक्टर में जो लोग विश्व में अलग अलग जगह पे जाने के उत्सुक हैं, उनके लिए बहुत बड़े अवसर लेकर के आ रहा है.
Prime Minister Modi hails India EU FTA, says deal to script next chapter of India's growth story. India's growth story unstoppable. No impact of Trump's tariffs. Economic survey hints India's GDP at 7.4% for 2026. All right, viewers, let's start with the top story of the day. One of the top stories that we are tracking for you. The Delhi High Court has sought the DGCA's response to a plea challenging its decision to keep the revised FTTL regulations, which set mandatory rest periods to reduce pilot fatigue in airbanes, saying safety rules must be enforced unless legally flawed, and that passenger safety concerns over non-implementation cannot be ignored. Now, the court has directed the DGCA to place its stance before it as on the next hearing. Now, this comes on the heels of a massive operational crisis. Representatives from India's leading airlines include Indigo, Air India, SpiceJet and Air Asia, who met the Secretary of Civil Aviation and senior government officials earlier this week to push for a permanent relaxation of the revised flight duty time limitation norms. Sartha joins us live on the broadcast for more on this. Well, there is this perpetual blackmail, that continues. This is a blackmail by, this is the duopoly of the airlines that is somewhere trying to, call the shots in here. But DGCA is now facing pressure to act against them. Sarthak, tell us more details what happened in the court.
Yes, certainly. We can rightly say that all these airlines, Indigo, SpiceJet, AirAsia, and a few others, are actually pressurizing DGCA to either completely scrap the new guidelines or give them permanent relaxation. Earlier, the reports that had come in, earlier they were supposed to follow the guidelines from February 10. They were given a few months relaxation, especially to Indigo after the chaos that happened some time ago, where there were long delays. The tickets were cancelled, and it was a problematic situation for people traveling, for everyone. Due to that concern, DGCA was a little considerate and gave them a slight relaxation in implementing the new guidelines. But now it seems like they are on this bully mode where they have come together. They have also spoken to the Secretary of Civil Aviation asking for permanent relaxation. In layman's language, it appears that maybe they just want to scrap the entire guideline. They just want to continue doing things as they were doing. They want to overburden pilots with more flying hours, because the entire idea, the whole idea behind this guideline was to provide pilots with lesser flying hours, just to take their fatigue into consideration and give them more rest hours. But now the new reports come in, and they tell us that they are not, they don't actually seem in a mood to abide by the new guidelines as posed by the DGCA.
Many thanks. Okay, Sarthak, in fact, this has been a pattern, in fact, and at the end of the day, it's the common people who actually bear the brunt of it. And there has to be a push for the FDTL. This has been going on for months now, isn't it? If you could just tell us a bit of a background as to what has been going on and the impact it had, the turbulence in the aviation sector that was, in fact, witnessed, and the impact continues to bear. Ultimately, it's the passengers who bear the brunt.
Yes, absolutely. You rightly said it. This entire tug of war that is going on between these airlines and DGCA, at the end of the day, the victim of that will be the general people, us, who travel frequently using these airlines. And taking that into consideration, the High Court as well has directed DGCA to give them a reasonable response as to why there is a delay in implementing these rules. Why, if these rules are not illegal, there is no practical reason for them to put a pause on implementing these new guidelines. The advocate from DGCA, which goes by the name Advocate Anjana Gosain, represented DGCA in today's hearing in the Delhi High Court. And she has been very categorically asked by the Delhi High Court to give a reasonable explanation on the next date of hearing for not implementing these DGCA rules. As I said it before, that these rules are not illegal.
Absolutely.
And that has been identified by the court as well. Then there is no reason for them to just linger on and delay these rules for eternity.
Many thanks, Sarthak, for joining us with those details coming in on that story. We were shifting focus to now the blackmail drama that continues from Pakistan. It's now preparing to escalate its protest over Bangladesh's exit from the T20 World Cup. Now, it's reportedly planning to send a second formal letter to the ICC. PCB says that if Pakistan participates in the tournament, its players may wear black armbands as a symbolic protest against the expulsion. In fact, Iceland has also taken a hilarious jibe at Pakistan is delaying its confirmation and continues to try and blackmail and weaponize the game. Viewers, Pakistan are just trying to put the pressure on ICC while it is unlikely to yield any results, any fruits for the Pakistanis. We now are getting more details as to the second letter that is going to be sent to the ICC. My colleague Himanshu joins us live on the broadcast. Himanshu, tell us more details about this. Another communication to the ICC from Pakistan, who are trying to now, they're planning a black armband, but for what we do not know.
Rakshita, what a joke. Pakistan cricket, basically, they are reminding me of kindergarten days. So you are unhappy with a friend, you say, no, I am not going to talk to you. First, they stole India's Asia Cup. Mohsin Naqvi, remember that. We all know how they ran away with the trophy despite losing the tournament. Then it comes about, okay, we want to stand in solidarity with Bangladesh. Bangladesh have pulled out. Now, PCB, they don't know whether to play, whether they want to play or they don't want to play. Meanwhile, Iceland cricket has been trolling, you can say roasting Pakistan cricket like never before, no matter who wins. But again, this armband, wearing a black armband or saying that, no, I'm not going to shake hands with you, is just kindergarten. That's all that I can think of as of now.
And also, there is a permission also needed for such protests. We've seen protests on the cricketing field. They've also garnered a lot of criticism in the past as well. But black armbands from Pakistan, for what? In fact, India has taken objection to what is happening with the Hindus in Bangladesh and the anti-India campaign that continues in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh says there's a security threat. Again, double standards sends its shooting team also. It brings its national shooting team also. Pakistan failed. We saw how Bangladesh exited, then it doesn't matter. Scotland replaced Bangladesh, and now Pakistan is left with options only to try and save face. But we as Indians,
Rakshita,
are we ready to have that sort of a protest on Indian soil?
Rakshita, they want to be seen in solidarity with Bangladesh. Now wearing a black armband, look, in sports, when people are unhappy, they want to protest something, they do that. We have seen that in past. But probably somebody should ask Mohsin Naqvi, what are you protesting for? Like, Bangladesh has pulled out. What is your concern here in this ICC tournament? They don't have any answers.
And the BCCI is concerned also, Himanshu. The BCCI, in fact, India should be showing them black armbands. India should be showing them black flags as far as Pakistan is concerned, that you are not welcome here on Indian soil.
Look, whether you wear a black band or you completely turn in a black outfit on that day, they are going to play this match in Sri Lanka. And all this, it's only for optics that probably PCB is doing so. I think BCCI there has a very strong point. Why have we let this situation to come to this place?
Right.
Like,
Himanshu, we have a breaking news coming in. We have breaking news coming in. Despite boycott talks, viewers, Pakistan booked to fly out for T20 World Cup because they know the reality. Now, Bangladesh media, despite talks of Pakistan boycotting the upcoming T20 World Cup, set to be held in Sri Lanka and India, 7th of February onwards. Reports have emerged that the team has already booked flights to Colombo. Pakistan's Interior Minister and Pakistan's Cricket Board President Mohsin Naqvi had earlier cast doubts over Pakistan's participation in the World Cup, accusing the International Cricket Council on having double standards and saying it had treated Bangladesh unfairly by excluding the team. Now, Himanshu, clearly, everybody knows the reality. Pakistan holds no weight. Its arguments, its demands hold no weight. It never did in the past. It won't now. And they have booked tickets. All they're doing these theatrics for is just to save face before their own people who also know the reality.
Rakshita, I think they just want to be in news. They know the repercussions of boycotting the ICC World T20. They are saying, no, we will protest, we'll do this, we'll do that. But again, they are taking the flight to Colombo. So that shows Pakistan were never serious to boycott ICC World T20. They cannot afford it at this point of time. Financially, they are not that in no position to boycott ICC World T20. They know the repercussions. But again, that brings me to that very important question of why this entire thing is happening at all. Why is India giving them an opportunity? Why is BCCI giving them an opportunity to probably threaten India, probably threaten with a boycott like this? This probably is something that BCCI has to take it up with ICC and think about it. Like why we are allowing such a situation.
In fact, we are not even, I don't think so that Indian fans will be wanting to even have Pakistanis, pulling up their shameless tactics, how they have tried to, blackmail ICC, blackmail the BCCI or maybe something like that, at least if you can call it blackmail, because we do know that they have no actually holding. In fact, we have a reaction coming in. We have Jwala Singh, who is Yashasvi Jaiswal's coach, joining us. Mr. Jwala Singh, well, this is unnecessary arm twisting by Pakistan. Again, it is hollow. There is no ground for Pakistan to do such a thing. But you feel that should India also allow anything like that, a potential black armband protest? But also at the same time, we know that Pakistan, there are two things to it, sir. As a coach of the Indian cricketer, Yashasvi Jaiswal, do you think that India should even be interested in playing with Pakistan or welcoming Pakistan on Indian soil, allowing black arm protest?
Well, first of all, good evening. I really feel that these kind of things, if a Pakistan team is willing to do, this should not be allowed, because there is no such reason wearing the band and playing, because there is nothing at the moment between both countries. Whatever has happened. So this is something which is really not good for the game. You're coming in the host nation and you are acting in this way. I don't think this should be done, and the permission should not be given in this situation.
Pakistan also booked tickets to Sri Lanka, sir, as they have been trying to show that, we are still mulling to, come to India or not. We will boycott a match or we'll boycott the entire tournament. We do not know. We are holding meetings after meetings. That's the optics from Pakistan. But now we are getting to know that they have booked their tickets also.
Well, I think, how the Pakistan, their characters are, or how they try to manipulate the things. You have already seen in Asia Cup. So they are not in position to boycott the tournament, very, very frankly, because they are bound to play the tournament, because they will go in the huge loss. But yes, this kind of tactics is just to, build some pressure on ICC, because, the ICC is right now headed by Mr. Jay Shah. These kind of tactics, they just try to build the pressure, but we know they don't have that kind of command where they can boycott the tournament.
Absolutely. Rightly pointed out there, Mr. Jwala Singh. Many thanks for joining us on Republic TV with your reaction on that story. Viewers, we continue to expose Pakistan's tactics, its antics, its shameless theatrics of trying to call the shots, or at least appear to be, calling the shots, appearing to be blackmailing the ICC. Here are some of the responses that have come in today from the parliament, because there are all eyes on the Indian government. Will it even allow the Pakistani team on Indian soil? Will it allow the terrorist state to, in fact, hold a black armband protest as on Indian soil when it plays in India?
जिस प्रकार से बांग्लादेश में अल्पसंख्यक समुदाय की लगातार हत्याएं हो रही हैं, जाहिर बात है भारत में इसका आक्रोश है, परंतु हम सभी का सम्मान करते हैं। कोई भी देश के व्यक्ति यहाँ खेलने आएंगे, उनका स्वागत भी है और उनका हर तरह की चिंता सरकार करती है।
बांग्लादेश इसमें असमंजस की स्थिति में है। भारत तो अतिथि देवो भव, जो भी आएगा वो अतिथि है और उसका स्वागत है। ये तो भारत की नीति रही है, लेकिन बांग्लादेश को देखना चाहिए वो खेल भावना उनके ऊपर ज्यादा हावी है या आतंकी भावना।
So, Pakistani players are planning this black armband protest, viewers, at the T20 World Cup. They're left with no options to boycott. They very well know that. Everybody knows that. So now they are trying to again pull up these theatrics, a move that is meant to challenge the ICC after Bangladesh was shown the door from the tournament. It pulled out from the tournament because it was left with no options. PCB says now the idea of this protest is to show solidarity to Bangladesh, which is under consideration now. This option is under consideration and a final decision will be taken later this week. However, if it does withdraw, it will be nobody's loss except Pakistan's. And also, let me tell you, viewers, these protests also are not allowed. That has happened in the past, but any political statement that is brought out, that also comes under the ICC's rules and regulations. Here's more.
Pakistan preparing a symbolic protest at the T20 World Cup. Pakistani players are to wear black armbands to protest ICC's handling of Bangladesh's pullout. However, even this protest needs clearance from the ICC. The developments come after Bangladesh pulled out of the tournament, citing security concerns. The ICC acted as per rules. It replaced Bangladesh to protect the tournament. Scotland was brought in. The competition moved forward. Pakistan says the ICC showed double standards. PCB is also set to send a second letter to the ICC questioning its approach in dealing with the matter. But the ICC maintains Bangladesh withdrew voluntarily. No one was expelled. Still, Pakistan wants to turn the World Cup into a protest platform. Pakistan's own participation is also under question. PCB chairman Mohsin Naqvi posted on social media that a final decision regarding Pakistan's participation will be taken later this week. Interestingly, despite that, Pakistan team is set to depart for Colombo on Monday. Competition venues are ready. India is ready. Sri Lanka is ready. The tournament is ready. The ICC has made one thing clear. The World Cup will go on. If Pakistan pulls out, it loses revenue. A possible loss of around 317 crore Indian rupees. It loses viewership. It loses global relevance. The World Cup will not stop. Cricket will continue.
Now, the newly released videos from the 13th of January captured in Minneapolis show Alex Pretty, a 37-year-old intensive care nurse at the Minneapolis Medical Center, engaging in a physical scuffle with federal immigration agents during a protest against the Trump administration's deportation efforts. Now, in the footage, you can see her shouting at the federal vehicles, kicking and shattering the tail light of the SUV, after which officers grabbed him, pulling him down to the ground and struggled with him amid a crowd before deploying tear gas and withdrawing. Now, Pretty had then broken free, left the scene without an arrest, and the altercation occurred just 11 days before his fatal shooting on the 24th of January, when Border Patrol officers shot him multiple times, reportedly in the back during another encounter, while he was recording agents with his phone and not actively threatening them, despite carrying a licensed handgun that was spotted during the struggle. So you can see that there has been massive outrage over the ICE agents' killings. ICE agents, in fact, killing individuals. And right now you can see this video. And on the second day of the budget session of the Parliament, it began with Prime Minister's address to media at the Parliament House. Prime Minister said, and I quote, "This budget session marks the completion of the first quarter of the 21st century and the beginning of the second quarter. The coming 25 years are vital for building a developed India." Here's more.
इस क्वार्टर के प्रारंभ में ही भारत और यूरोपियन यूनियन का फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट आने वाली दिशाएं कितनी उज्जवल है, भारत के युवाओं का भविष्य कितना उज्जवल है, उसकी एक झलक है। ये फ्री ट्रेड फॉर एम्बिशियस भारत है। ये फ्री ट्रेड फॉर एस्पिरेशनल यूथ है। ये फ्री ट्रेड फॉर आत्मनिर्भर भारत है। और मुझे पक्का विश्वास है, खास करके जो भारत के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं, वे इस अवसर को अपनी क्षमताएं बढ़ाने के लिए करेंगे। और मैं सभी प्रकार के उत्पादकों से यही कहूंगा कि जब भारत यूरोपियन यूनियन के बीच मदर ऑफ ऑल डील्स जिसको कहते हैं, वैसा समझौता हुआ है, तब मेरे देश के उद्योगकार, मेरे देश के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स अब तो बहुत बड़ा बाजार खुल गया। अब बहुत सस्ते में हमारा माल पहुंच जाएगा। इतने भाव से वो बैठे न रहे। ये एक अवसर है और इस अवसर का सबसे पहला मंत्र ये होता है कि हम क्वालिटी पर बल दें।
All right, time for a very, very short break, viewers. But on the other side, we get you the update in the Sanjay Kapoor legacy battle case. The Delhi High Court has now summoned Priya Sachdev.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, राजा और मसाला, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't gone. No, he debanked me. So we'll see if that beats anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanking. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fall to have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
The lawsuit, filed on Thursday, January 22nd in Miami-Dade County State Court, centers on a controversial practice known as debanking. The president alleges that the bank has systematically denied services to him and his associated businesses, not because of financial risk, but due to political bias. This isn't just a dispute over a checking account. This is a high-stakes legal battle that accuses the largest bank in the United States of trade libel, bad faith, and violating state consumer protection laws. The core of the complaint is that J.P. Morgan Chase violated Florida's deceptive trade practices law. The legal team for the president argues that Florida law explicitly prohibits financial institutions from terminating accounts or denying services based on a person's political opinions, speech, or affiliations. According to the complaint reviewed by Bloomberg, Trump's lawyers state that, quote, debanking is a matter of public interest and significant importance to all consumers and businesses in the United States of America. They argue that J.P. Morgan Chase, given its history and size, is a central actor in what they call a troubling saga. This lawsuit frames this not just as a personal grievance, but as part of a broader campaign against the weaponization of the banking sector. The allegation is that financial institutions are acting as ideological gatekeepers, cutting off access to capital for those who don't align with certain political views. J.P. Morgan Chase has been quick to respond, and they are firmly denying these accusations. In a statement released shortly after...
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Supreme Court stays the UGC Promotion of Equity Regulations 2026, says provisions are prima facie capable of misuse. As airlines continue to blackmail government, maintain silence on the relaxation of norms that will ensure passenger safety. It's the unexplained flip seen in 2023 and 2026. Crashes, experts question why similar crashes took place and why reports have not been filed. Sanjay Kapoor legacy battle in court. Delhi High Court issues summons to Priya Sachdev in petition filed by Rani Kapoor.
इस देशों के साथ हुआ ये समझौता हमारे देश के मछुआरे, हमारे देश के किसान, हमारे देश के युवान, सर्विस सेक्टर में जो लोग विश्व में अलग अलग जगह पे जाने के उत्सुक हैं, उनके लिए बहुत बड़े अवसर लेकर के आ रहा है.
Prime Minister Modi launched the India-European Union free trade deal, says it will script the next chapter of India's growth story. India unstoppable, no impact of Trump's tariffs. Economic survey hints India's real GDP will be at 7.4% in 2026. Top focus: Supreme Court has stayed the implementation of the University Grants Commission and its recently notified Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Institutions Regulations 2026. Basically, the UGC norms, the new ones, have been put on hold. They were issued on the 13th of January and they will now apply to all higher educational institutions after they were challenged for excluding general category students from the grievance redressal mechanism. A bench of Supreme Court Justices, Chief Justice of India Surya Kant and Justice Bakshi observed that allowing the regulations to operate without scrutiny could have dangerous consequences. It's been scrapped for now. Here is how everyone is reacting. There was a huge uproar over the bill. Many people had questions. Many felt it would open up misuse by certain sections. Here are the reactions.
Caste discrimination says any discrimination with SC, ST and OBC community, and the general category has been left out of it. So this rules has specifically kind of give a message like the general category people has been harassing or has been discriminate SC, ST and OBC community, which is wrong. So we have put this argument before the CGI and CGI appreciated this argument and specifically states if this kind of rule would be framed, it is a very harsh and very dangerous precedent for the society and could be demolish the social structure of the society. So our constitution says to give any creed or the people who is related to any creed or any religion and any caste same stays, but here by virtue of these rules it should be demolished by these people, and I think it should be amended. So the CGI is specifically talking about formation of a committee in which he has been suggested to indulge some accommodation, legal experts and some social workers to see these rules, and whatever the changes would be needed, it should be needed, what he suggested now.
Sarthak is joining us live. There were many questions. In fact, we'll put out the graphic as well of why this was controversial and why many people had issues with it. There are questions and we have details of why it was controversial. Sarthak, if you can tell us what petitioners said in court while questioning the new UGC norms.
Yes. Well, the petitioners' main contention was that these new UGC rules exclude the general category. So if there is a grievance mechanism that was previously there, that does not include the general category. It was not explicitly mentioned in the 2012 rules, but this time they have clearly and very explicitly mentioned SC, ST and OBC have also been included in that. But general category is nowhere to be seen. That is the primary contention of the petitioners, where they're asking if there is a grievance mechanism, why isn't the general category mentioned in that? Isn't it discriminatory? Isn't it going against Article 14 of the Indian Constitution? And is it not against equality before law? Are they presuming that there is no discrimination? There is no discrimination against the general category. We have seen tons of examples in the past where people have created all sort of nuisance and also against the people coming from the Brahmin caste or some other so-called upper caste. That has been the primary contention in the petition to at least till the time you do not provide any sort of mention in the regulation of general category, to put it on hold. And the Supreme Court also observes that there is a lot of confusion in the language of the regulation. We have to keep one thing in mind, that they have not completely struck down the regulation as of now. They have put it on abeyance. The fact is that they have stated in the order that there is a lot of ambiguity and there is a lot of confusion in the language of the regulation, due to which we have to put it on hold for now, and we'll have to wait for time to see what transpires in the next date of hearing.
Okay. There have been protests across India over the new UGC norms. Let's play out some of the responses that are coming in. In fact, there have been non-stop responses. Students have been protesting in different parts of the country. Here's what they are saying after the Supreme Court intervened to put it on hold.
बरकतुल्लाह यूनिवर्सिटी में मैं मौजूद हूं, तमाम स्टूडेंट हैं और इन सबसे हमने बात भी की थी। फिलहाल दोबारा इनसे लाइव बात करेंगे कि इन लोगों का क्या कहना है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नया नियम जो यूजीसी का है उस पर रोक लगा दी है। स्टूडेंट में खुशी है, क्या कहेंगे आप लोग?
जी खुशी है, हमारे में तो बहुत अच्छी खुशी है क्योंकि यूजीसी एक बहुत गलत ही था। क्योंकि यूजीसी यूनिवर्सिटी में एक तो आपका एंटी रैगिंग लागू है, दूसरा यूजीसी लागू हो जाएगा तो दिक्कत हो जाएगी। यूजीसी में बहुत सारी अशुद्धियां हैं जो उसमें सुधार करने की जरूरत है। जी
आप बताइए
सर। मेरे ख्याल से तो यूजीसी बिल जो है वो सबसे पहले सबको पढ़ने की जरूरत है। बिना पढ़े किसी भी चीज पर टिप्पणी करना गलत है। यहाँ पे जितने बच्चे खड़े 90% लोगों को यूजीसी का फुल फॉर्म पूछ दो तो पता नहीं है, पर विरोध करने के लिए सबसे पहले विरोध क्यों? क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं से इनके कान में सुनने के लिए आ गया कि यूजीसी एक तरीके से कास्ट बेसिस
कमेटी की बात हो रही है। जो इक्विटी कमेटी बनी है उसमें सवर्ण कास्ट का मेंबर नहीं है, इसलिए भी विरोध हो रहा है। आप बताइए क्या कहेंगे, जो नया जो बिल था इसको वह रोक लगा दी है।
यूजीसी जो नया नियम आया था उसमें यूनिवर्सिटी ग्रांट कमीशन ने यही कहा था कि जो यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर जनरल वाले हैं वो ओबीसी, एससी और एसटी, अगर इन तीनों से जातिगत भेदभाव करेंगे तो उसमें जो जनरल का कास्ट वो स्टूडेंट है उसकी सस्पेंशन हो जाएगा और इसमें सीधे तौर पर यूनिवर्सिटी और कॉलेज भी सस्पेंड।
फॉल्स कंप्लेंट की शिकायतें बढ़ जाते, मामले बढ़ जाते।
हाँ, ये बात सही है क्योंकि जिस तरह का माहौल अभी चल रहा है, फॉल्स केस बहुत हो चुके हैं, इसी कारण से उसमें संशोधन करना चाहिए।
तो स्वागत योग्य है फैसला कोर्ट का।
जो संशोधन है वो तो स्वागत योग्य है और जैसे जो सुधारना चाहिए, अगर वैसे तो लाना नहीं चाहिए पर अगर सुधार करे तो मतलब कड़ी जांच होके करना चाहिए।
नया ड्राफ्ट बनाने की बात कही है। आप बताइए, यूजीसी का जो नया नियम है इस पर रोक की बात कर दी है कोर्ट ने, कहा नया ड्राफ्ट बनाए। स्टूडेंट जो आप लोग हैं बाहर से पढ़ने यहाँ पर आते हैं, कुछ स्टूडेंट ने हमसे कहा कि भेदभाव क्यों बढ़े स्टूडेंट में, उस लिहाज से ये ठीक है?
हाँ, उस लिहाज से ठीक है क्योंकि भेदभाव बढ़ गए हैं जब से ये यूजीसी नियम आया है। क्योंकि जनरल के और एससी एसटी के जो स्टूडेंट हैं उनको लगता, मतलब ऐसा है भी कि जो छात्र हैं उनमें भेदभाव इसलिए बढ़ गया क्योंकि जो एससी एसटी के छात्र हैं अगर किसी के ऊपर गलत करते हैं तो जनरल का जो छात्र है वो अपने लिए कुछ बोल नहीं सकते हैं। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि मतलब ये नियम अगर पारित होता है तो इसके लिए दोनों पक्ष में कोई ना कोई संशोधन बनना चाहिए।
आप बताइए।
जैसे कि हम घर से बाहर निकलते हैं एज अ स्टूडेंट तो हम यहाँ पे ऐसा परिवार की तरह रहते हैं, तो परिवार को एक रखने के लिए हम सब जात के एक होते हैं, सब कास्ट के एक होते हैं। अभी जो एक्ट आया है इसके जरिए जनरल वाले वैसे लोग कुछ भी बोलने में डरते हैं कि भाई जनरल एससी वाला एसटी वाला कोई भी फॉल्स वो लगा सकता है, अपर एक्ट लगा सकता है। तो उससे बचने के लिए गवर्नमेंट को या तो उसमें ड्राफ्ट कुछ नया लाना चाहिए या फिर जनरल या फिर जो भी अदर है उनके सपोर्ट में एक एक्ट और लॉन्च करना चाहिए जो डिफेंड कर सके।
इसीलिए क्या देश भर में विरोध हो रहा था?
Okay, we have some breaking news now in the case of the plane crash. Fadnavis has written a letter, and Devendra Fadnavis has written a letter to the Civil Aviation Minister. There is a breaking news update that we have right now. The Chief Minister, in his letter to the Union Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu, had asked for an inquiry into the exact cause of this crash, urging the minister, that is Ram Mohan Naidu, to ensure that immediate steps are taken to ensure that such crashes do not take place in the future. Adding that a senior leader like Ajit Pawar lost his life in the aircraft accident and that 4 others have also died. And to which the Union Civil Aviation Minister has now responded to the letter, saying that the AAIB has initiated an investigation and that the black box has been recovered and is in custody. And as per the aircraft accident and incident rules, the investigation has begun and will be conducted in a transparent and time-bound manner. Meenakshi is joining us on the phone line with the details. Meenakshi, what do we know about the investigation so far?
Well, as you have rightly mentioned, Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, had written a letter to Union Civil Aviation Minister, and he requested that a very senior leader like Ajit Pawar lost his life in aircraft accident. 4 others also lost their life. So the letter requested an inquiry into the exact cause of the accident, and it also requested that immediate steps be taken to ensure such accidents do not occur in the future. And after that, why we have seen that Union Civil Aviation Minister responded, and what he mentioned. He mentioned that the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, AAIB, has initiated an investigation, and the aircraft black box has been taken into custody. As per the Aircraft Accident and Incident Rules, the investigation has begun and will be conducted in a transparent and time-bound manner. All technical records, operational details and facts from the accident site are being examined, and the ministry has taken note of his request to prevent such incidents in the future. So, Civil Aviation Ministry responded to the letter of Devendra Fadnavis.
Okay. Thank you for that. In fact, we have an update of what the minister concerned, which is Ram Mohan Naidu, what he has said in his response to Devendra Fadnavis. Ram Mohan Naidu has, of course, in his procedural response, spoken about AAIB investigating the crash and that the black box now being taken into custody, adding that as per the Aircraft Accident Incident Rules, investigation is being conducted in a time-bound manner. All technical records, operational details and facts from accident site are being examined, adding that the ministry has taken note of the request to prevent such incidents in the future and that appropriate measures will be implemented once the investigation report is received. Now, these are details coming in of the minister. Meenakshi continues to be with us. Meenakshi, what do we know about the minister's response? In fact, the minister was completely silent on the details of what has happened in this particular case, but there are some people who are already blaming the pilots. What is going on?
They are silent, but in the letter of Devendra Fadnavis, he responded that all technical records, operational details and facts from the accident site are being examined. He's saying so. He's mentioned this later, and the ministry has taken note of his request, and it will prevent such incident in the future, and appropriate measures will be implemented. The investigation report is received, and also he mentioned that cooperation from the Maharashtra government will be available from the inquiry, and assistance from the local administration will be required, and he mentioned that the complete investigation report will also be shared with the state government. He is saying so that every investigation report also will be shared with the state government, and they are on it. And he also said that the black box already found, and the black box is in custody. So they will update as per their investigation to Maharashtra government, and he requested that Maharashtra government cooperation needed in this case.
Okay, thank you for that. Actor Selina Jaitley's brother, retired Major Vikrant's detention in the UAE. The Delhi High Court has granted time to file an additional affidavit to place on record the new facts in view of the status report filed by the respondents. The matter is listed for hearing on the 3rd of February. Her petition is pending, seeking legal assistance and communication facility with her brother, Major Vikrant Jaitley, who is detained in the UAE. So this is a update that came into our newsroom right now. The petition has been filed for the 3rd of February, and the High Court has sought an affidavit with the additional details. Now, Selina Jaitley, on her part, had spoken to Republic a few months back and sought details about her brother's whereabouts, saying that he's a national hero and that she deserves answers. The family deserves answers on his condition following his detention in the UAE. Okay, addressing the media ahead of the Economic Survey in Parliament, Prime Minister Modi today lauded the free trade agreement, called it a new opportunity for Indian businessmen. This was his customary speech before the budget session.
भारत और यूरोपियन यूनियन का फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट आने वाली दिशाएं कितनी उज्जवल है, भारत के युवाओं का भविष्य कितना उज्जवल है, उसकी एक झलक है। ये फ्री ट्रेड फॉर एम्बिशियस भारत है, ये फ्री ट्रेड फॉर एस्पिरेशनल यूथ है, ये फ्री ट्रेड फॉर आत्मनिर्भर भारत है। और मुझे पक्का विश्वास है, खास करके जो भारत के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं, वे इस अवसर को अपनी क्षमताएं बढ़ाने के लिए करेंगे। और मैं सभी प्रकार के उत्पादकों से यही कहूंगा कि जब भारत यूरोपियन यूनियन के बीच मदर ऑफ ऑल डील्स जिसको कहते हैं, वैसा समझौता हुआ है, तब मेरे देश के उद्योगकार, मेरे देश के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स अब तो बहुत बड़ा बाजार खुल गया, अब बहुत सस्ते में हमारा माल पहुंच जाएगा, इतने भाव से वो बैठे न रहे। ये एक अवसर है और इस अवसर का सबसे पहला मंत्र ये होता है कि हम क्वालिटी पर बल दें। हम अब जब बाजार खुल गया है तो उत्तम से उत्तम क्वालिटी लेकर के बाजार में जाएं।
Well, the Pakistan Cricket Board is preparing to escalate its protest over Bangladesh's removal from the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026, reportedly planning to send a second formal letter to the ICC. Even parliamentarians are now responding to it. India is for now silent. Rakshita is joining me live. Rakshita, it's turning out to be a joke, right? Letter after letter. Eventually, it seems like they'll end up playing after all.
Yes, that is what happened during the 2023 World Cup, and it continues to be the case. Now they're trying to just weaponize the game, weaponize Bangladesh's exit as well. The ICC, in fact, has its own regulations in place as well. First, they are trying to show that they can arm twist the ICC. That is highly unlikely. Now, letters after letter, meetings after meetings, only for the optics. That's it. Apart from that, the news of them mulling to, in fact, carry out black arm ban protests. Well, that has also not augured well for anyone in the past. We've seen what happened with the Osman Khaja of South Africa, when he wore the black armband in protest against what was happening in Gaza. What he said was for the Palestinian cause. Earlier he said it's for personal bereavement, but that is not allowed as per the ICC rules and regulations. It is supposed to be cleared by the ICC. That also looks unlikely. And of course, the BCCI should also speak up if at all it is in any way cleared also. It's unlikely to be cleared, but yes, this sort of antic cannot be, in fact, allowed. We have Madan Lal, former cricketer and part of the World Cup winning team, also joining us on the phone line. Mr. Madan Lal, now the Pakistan team is left with no options. Clearly, we can see that its arguments, its citing of reasons for pulling out of the game against India or even the World Cup has no grounds. Now they're trying to send more letters to the ICC, saying it's just double standards, that one country is allowed to change the venue, but Bangladesh has not been allowed to do so. So now, when it will not, at the same time, they will also be planning to hold protests on ground when they play in Sri Lanka or even when they play in India. Sir, can that be allowed, Mr. Madan Lal?
It should not be allowed, if they do like this, अगर वो ब्लैक बैंड भी पहनते हैं, अलाउ नहीं करना चाहिए, ना ही उनको आने देना चाहिए, because that means that they are insulting India. If they wear the black bands or if they boycott, if they want to boycott, they can boycott. That's not a problem. That's up to them to decide. But They should not be. The ICC should not listen to any condition.
So, there have been controversies surrounding the protests. But do you feel that Pakistan is just trying to unnecessarily waste time? It is the only one. It is actually Pakistan who stands to lose if it tries to pull out of even one game, forget the entire tournament. It cannot afford to do so. But sir, can BCCI or the ICC, because BCCI, remember, is the biggest stakeholder, it's the biggest shareholder as far as the ICC is concerned, is the most powerful cricketing body. Can these antics be even allowed? Can Pakistan be even given room to even, tomorrow think of doing such a thing, doing any protest on Indian soil or even blackmail the ICC?
See, if they are boycotting, they should not be allowed to participate, because how can they miss one game, and they play the other games? That they have to give us some valid reason, that sort of thing. Otherwise, like Pakistan, the Asia Cup, they've done the same thing. Now they're trying to do the same thing, I think, what they're trying to do to make India, like Indian reputations, that's what it means,
And sir, there are regulations as far as the ICC. If at all it is so worried about the, the rules and regulations per se, there are provisions for against weaponization of the game as well, weaponization of cricket as well, and this has been going for a long time. First, Pakistan incites Bangladesh, and it's shown the door. Now it's trying to hold these meetings and keep writing letters after letters. At the same time, we have Bangladesh sending players for shooting. Pakistan team also comes for hockey. I mean, it is about cricket, sir, that it has been used time and again for political reasons, and the ICC has not been able to, in fact, control it.
Yeah, that's right. ICC has to control all these things, If the shooting team is coming, they don't have any security threat. Even Pakistan team is coming for a hockey, they don't have any threat. How can they say that they're not going to participate in India in the 2020 World Cup? ICC should take a very strict decision. Actually, they're trying to spoil this show.
Absolutely, very rightly put there. Mr. Madanlal, thank you so much for joining us. Over to you, Niranjan. Well, this, of course, is a drama that continues. In fact, we have some breaking news also coming in right now as we speak, viewers. There is breaking news coming in as far as Pakistan is concerned. While they try to show that they will boycott, they have already booked tickets. That's another joke, what we understand by Pakistan. And as we said, Niranjan, well, clearly Pakistan knows its reality. And we understand that there is no option for Pakistan. So their interior minister, their prime minister, we all know even their own roles in the government is a joke. And all they do is, indulge in these antics. And clearly we see that these are, that the Pakistanis have in fact booked their tickets for Sri Lanka because their first game is in Sri Lanka. That clearly shows that they will end up playing this World Cup, no matter what they are trying to show. In fact, we have multiple responses from the parliament also, because everybody is looking at the parliamentarians, is looking up to the government to in fact speak over this and put their foot down and clear India's stand that are we going to tolerate Pakistan on our soil at all. Listen into the responses from the Parliament House.
जिस प्रकार से बांग्लादेश में अल्पसंख्यक समुदाय की लगातार हत्याएं हो रही हैं, जाहिर बात है भारत में इसका आक्रोश है, परंतु हम सभी का सम्मान करते हैं। कोई भी देश के व्यक्ति यहाँ खेलने आएंगे, उनका स्वागत भी है और उनका हर तरह की चिंता सरकार करती है।
बांग्लादेश इसमें असमंजस की स्थिति में है। भारत तो अतिथि देवो भव, जो भी आएगा वो अतिथि है और उसका स्वागत है। ये तो भारत की नीति रही है, लेकिन बांग्लादेश को देखना चाहिए वो खेल भावना उनके ऊपर ज्यादा हावी है या आतंकी भावना।
All right, viewers, we now will be stepping into a very short break, but on the other side we get you what happened in the court as far as the UGC is concerned as the protests mount over UGC. We bring you the setback that has come in for the government and relief for protesters in this case.
अरे मेरे राजा
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
MDH की देगी मिर्च
देगी मिर्च का तड़का अंग अंग फड़का
MDH की देगी मिर्च आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't got it. No, he debanked to me. So we'll see if that beeps anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanking. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fault. You have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला डिलीशियस हेल्दी एवरीडे।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't got it. No, he debanked to me. So we'll see if that beeps anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanking. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fault. You have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
The lawsuit, filed on Thursday, January 22nd in Miami-Dade County.
Hello viewers, a very good evening. We are live, we are breaking. I'm Shivangi Shukla getting you the latest coming in. Supreme Court has stayed the UGC norms, calls them too sweeping. That's our top story coming in. But the headlines first. Let's get started. UGC rules stayed by Supreme Court set back for government relief for protesters. UGC new rules must be re-examined, directed. The Supreme Court flagging complete vagueness in the rules that make those prone to misuse. PCB plans Colombo departure, effectively rules out T20 World Cup or India match boycott. World Cup now turns into a joke as Bangladesh media questions Pakistan participation in the T20 World Cup. Rupee hits an all-time low of 92 against US dollar. Delhi High Court asked for DGCA's response on norms for pilot arrest. Viewers, the Supreme Court has stayed the implementation of the University Grants Commission's recently notified Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Institutions regulations, which was issued on Jan 13th and applies to all the higher education institutions after they were challenged for excluding general category students from the grievance redressal mechanism. A bench comprising of Chief Justice of India Suryakant and Justice Bakshi have observed that allowing the regulations to operate without scrutiny could have dangerous consequences, potentially dividing society and having a grave impact. Court said that judicial intervention was important and added that the regulations would need to be examined by an expert committee before any further steps are taken.
Caste discrimination says any discrimination with SC, ST and OBC community, and the general category has been left out of it. So this rules has specifically kind of give a message like the general category people has been harassing or has been discriminate SC, ST and OBC community, which is wrong. So we have put this argument before the CGI and CGI appreciated this argument and specifically states if this kind of rule would be framed, it is a very harsh and very dangerous precedent for the society and could be demolished the social structure of the society. So our constitution says to give any greed or the people who is related to any greed or any religion and any caste same stays, but here by virtue of these rules it should be demolished by these people, and I think it should be amended. So the CGI is specifically talking about formation of a committee in which he has been suggested to indulge some accommodation legal experts and some social workers to see these rules, and whatever the changes would be needed, it should be needed, what he suggested.
All right, let's go to my colleague. We have Sarthak joining us live from outside at the Supreme Court. Sarthak, you'll be reporting live for us. The next hearing is March 19th. However, we saw the Supreme Court make a lot of statements calling this UGC equity regulations too sweeping. If you could help our viewers understand and get us the latest coming in from the Supreme Court.
Yes. Well, the petitions that have been filed before the Supreme Court, the major contention in those petitions remains the same, that there is a grievance mechanism provided in the regulations, but the general category has been excluded from that. In the 2012 regulations, there was an anti-discriminatory grievance mechanism, but they had not explicitly mentioned any category in that, which applied that it would include everyone. This was implied by the previous regulation, but this time they have included SC, ST and OBC as well, but there is no mention of the general category. And in today's hearing, the Supreme Court called the regulation as vague and unclear, and they have they're asking for clarity in the regulation, because they say that there is a lot of confusion in the language of the regulation, due to which this has to be put on hold. We cannot continue with these regulations at a point where there is a lot of ambiguity around this. And the major contention of the petitioners in the case, I had a word with Advocate Vineet Jindal as well, where he said that it has to be, if you're actually explicitly mentioning and categorically mentioning SC, ST and OBC into the regulation, and if they are entitled to any grievance mechanism, why haven't you included general category in that? And if by default they are included in it, why haven't you mentioned in the regulation? And that is something that they are pushing through their petition before the Supreme Court.
Okay. Stay on with us, Sarthak, and keep reporting live for us from the Supreme Court. Vague, capable of misuse, Supreme Court has said this while staying the UGC rules. Meanwhile, let's take a listen into some of the responses that are coming in from the students who have been holding protests.
बरकतुल्लाह यूनिवर्सिटी में मैं मौजूद हूं, तमाम स्टूडेंट हैं और इन सबसे हमने बात भी की थी। फिलहाल दोबारा इनसे लाइव बात करेंगे कि इन लोगों का क्या कहना है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने नया नियम जो यूजीसी का है उस पर रोक लगा दी है। स्टूडेंट में खुशी है, क्या कहेंगे आप लोग?
जी खुशी है, हमारे में तो बहुत अच्छी खुशी है क्योंकि यूजीसी एक बहुत गलत ही था। क्योंकि यूजीसी यूनिवर्सिटी में एक तो आपका एंटी रैगिंग लागू है, दूसरा यूजीसी लागू हो जाएगा तो दिक्कत हो जाएगी। यूजीसी में बहुत सारी अशुद्धियां हैं जो उसमें सुधार करने की जरूरत है। जी
आप बताइए
सर। मेरे ख्याल से तो यूजीसी बिल जो है वो सबसे पहले सबको पढ़ने की जरूरत है। बिना पढ़े किसी भी चीज पे टिप्पणी करना गलत है। यहाँ पे जितने बच्चे खड़े 90% लोगों को यूजीसी का फुल फॉर्म पूछ दो तो पता नहीं है, पर विरोध करने के लिए सबसे पहले विरोध क्यों? क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं से इनके कान में सुनने के लिए आ गया कि यूजीसी एक तरीके से कास्ट बेसिस
कमेटी की बात हो रही है। जो इक्विटी कमेटी बनी उसमें सवर्ण कास्ट का मेंबर नहीं है, इसलिए भी विरोध हो रहा है। आप बताइए क्या कहेंगे? जो नया जो बिल था इसको वह रोक लगा दी है।
यूजीसी जो नया नियम आया था उसमें यूनिवर्सिटी ग्रांट कमीशन ने यही कहा था कि जो यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर जनरल वाले हैं वो ओबीसी, एससी और एसटी, अगर इन तीनों से जातिगत भेदभाव करेंगे तो उसमें जो जनरल का कास्ट वो स्टूडेंट है उसकी सस्पेंशन हो जाएगा और इसमें सीधे तौर पर यूनिवर्सिटी और कॉलेज भी सस्पेंड।
फॉल्स कंप्लेंट की शिकायतें बढ़ जाते, मामले बढ़ जाते।
हाँ, ये बात सही है क्योंकि जिस तरह का माहौल अभी चल रहा है, फॉल्स केस बहुत हो चुके हैं, इसी कारण से उसमें संशोधन करना चाहिए।
तो स्वागत योग्य है फैसला कोर्ट का।
जो संशोधन है वो तो स्वागत योग्य है और जैसे जो सुधारना चाहिए, अगर वैसे तो लाना नहीं चाहिए पर अगर सुधार करे तो मतलब कड़ी जांच होके करना चाहिए।
नया ड्राफ्ट बनाने की बात कही है। आप बताइए, यूजीसी का जो नया नियम है इस पर रोक की बात कर दी है कोर्ट ने, कहा नया ड्राफ्ट बनाएं। स्टूडेंट जो आप लोग हैं बाहर से पढ़ने यहाँ पर आते हैं, कुछ स्टूडेंट ने हमसे कहा कि भेदभाव क्यों बढ़े स्टूडेंट में, उस लिहाज से ठीक है?
हाँ, उस लिहाज से ठीक है क्योंकि भेदभाव बढ़ गए हैं जब से ये यूजीसी नियम आया है। क्योंकि जनरल के और एससी एसटी के जो स्टूडेंट हैं उनको लगता, मतलब ऐसा है भी कि जो छात्र हैं उनमें भेदभाव इसलिए बढ़ गया क्योंकि जो एससी एसटी के छात्र हैं अगर किसी के ऊपर गलत करते हैं तो जनरल का जो छात्र है वो अपने लिए कुछ बोल नहीं सकते हैं। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि मतलब ये नियम अगर पारित होता है तो इसके लिए दोनों पक्ष में कोई ना कोई संशोधन बनना चाहिए।
आप बताइए।
जैसे कि हम घर से बाहर निकलते हैं एज अ स्टूडेंट तो हम यहाँ पे ऐसा परिवार की तरह रहते हैं। तो परिवार को एक रखने के लिए हम सब जात के एक होते हैं, सब कास्ट के एक होते हैं। अभी जो एक्ट आया है इसके जरिए जनरल वाले वैसे लोग कुछ भी बोलने में डरते हैं कि भाई जनरल एससी वाला एसटी वाला कोई भी फॉल्स वो लगा सकता है, अपर एक्ट लगा सकता है। तो उससे बचने के लिए गवर्नमेंट को या तो उसमें ड्राफ्ट कुछ नया लाना चाहिए या फिर जनरल या फिर जो भी अदर है उनके सपोर्ट में एक एक्ट और लॉन्च करना चाहिए जो डिफेंड कर सके।
इसीलिए क्या देश भर में विरोध हो रहा था?
मैं बांट रहे हैं आप लोग, खुशी है? बहुत खुशी है। मैं माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय का ये जो फैसला है उसका मैं गहरे दिल से और तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा भी करना चाहूँगा और उसका स्वागत भी करता हूँ। जो भी ये यूजीसी काला कानून जो सरकार द्वारा लागू किया गया था, ये कहीं ना कहीं हम छात्र के बीच में जो है वो आपसी मतभेद पैदा कर रहा था।
सीजीआई ने कहा है कि भाषा में संशोधन की जरूरत है। आप लोग क्या देखते हैं, क्या मानते हैं, क्या कुछ बदलाव और चाहते हैं या नियम आए या ना आए पूरी तरीके से खत्म हो जाए, क्या चाहते हैं?
सर, हम तो चाहते हैं कि ये नियम है इस पर या फिर उचित परिवर्तन किया जाए, जो कि किसी एक जात या जात विशेष को देख के न किया जाए, छात्रों को समान रखा जाए। सरकार कहीं ना कहीं अपने आप को एकदम पावरफुल समझ चुकी है। वो समझ चुकी है कि हम जो भी मनाएगा वो छात्रों के ऊपर थोप देंगे। तो उसके लिए हम कहना चाहेंगे कि बहुत चंद्रशेखर प्रधानमंत्री उन्होंने भी सदन में कहा था कि जिन हाथों में शक्ति भरी है राज तिलक देने की, उन्हीं हाथों में शक्ति है सर उतार लेने की। तो भाजपा को इस बात से सतर्क रहना चाहिए कि छात्र को आपस में लड़ाकर वो जो राजनीति खेल रहे हैं, ये कहीं ना कहीं छात्र हितों पे बहुत बड़ा असर करेगी और ये समाज को बहुत पीछे छोड़कर आगे, मतलब समाज को आगे ले जाने में बहुत विरोध पैदा करेगी।
क्या इस पर राय है आपकी? मानते हैं कि नियमों में बदलाव और हो या फिर नियम ही खत्म हो जाए, क्या चाहते हैं?
देखिए, या तो नियम खत्म हो जाए, अगर नियम ऐसे बने तो नियम में ये भी हो कि जो गलत आरोप, जैसे अखिलेश यादव का, मैं किसी राजनीतिक दल का समर्थक नहीं हूँ, लेकिन अखिलेश यादव का जो बयान था उस बयान का मैं समर्थन करता हूँ कि निर्दोषी बचे नहीं और दोषी बचे नहीं और निर्दोषी फंसे नहीं।
All right, let's go back to my colleague Sarthak who's joining us. Sarthak, there's one important quote which I just want to tell our viewers about what the Supreme Court said. Unity of India must be reflected in our educational institutions. You know, there's some very powerful quotes which have come from the Supreme Court as the UGC rules have been stayed for now. Sarthak.
Yes, absolutely. The court has certainly observed that there is a huge possibility of misuse of these new regulations. But we also have to keep in mind that the Supreme Court has not completely struck down the regulation, because the Supreme Court has not questioned the equality in these regulations. They have only mentioned the language in these regulations. The Supreme Court has said that there is confusion in the language of the regulation. Does it include the general category? Does it exclude the general category? These are the certain really relevant and really important questions that need to be answered. And certainly the Supreme Court has identified an issue over here that if they continue implementing these rules, then there is a huge possibility that there would be a section in the society that would tend to misuse these regulations. If there is a grievance mechanism and if it very categorically excludes a certain section of our society, let's say it's general category from it, then it can create chaos and conflict in universities across the country. So that is something the Supreme Court is definitely taking into consideration, and that is why they have put a pause on these regulations. But we also have to keep in mind that this is a pause, not a full stop, and what will happen next in the next date of hearing, how things will unfold and unveil, that is something only time will tell.
Okay, thank you, Sarthak. I'm being joined by Vishnu Shankar Jain, who's joining us live right now. The counsel for the petitioner who challenged the newly introduced UGC regulations. Thank you for joining us here, Mr. Jain, on Republic TV. What was the primary concern that pushed the petitioner to challenge the UGC's regulations in the Supreme Court?
The primary concern was the discrimination which was there in the definition. Now, if you will see section 3C of the definition where caste-based discrimination was defined, it was specifically mentioned that caste-based discrimination means a discrimination against the members of SC, ST and OBC. So this kind of definition was excluding one section of the society and especially the general category from the purview of caste-based discrimination, which was in clear violation of the provisions of Article 14. It had no reasonable nexus with the object sought to be achieved. It had no rational, intelligible differentia. It has no rationale, and it was completely vague. And therefore, it was hit by the provisions of Article 14. And on the touchstone of Article 14, this entire regulation was challenged before the Supreme Court. The Honorable Supreme Court has stayed the provisions of these regulations and have kept them in abeyance. And in turn, the Honorable Supreme Court, in exercise of powers under Article 142, has directed that the UGC Regulation 2012 will be in operation till further orders.
Yes. Mr. Jain, the court highlighted that victims must not be left without a remedy. Could you explain why the regulations of 2026 of the UGC were failing to have a proper redressal?
See, we have to understand that the UGC regulations 2026, when it was defining discrimination, section 3 subclause E was already defining the word discrimination. And section 3 was all-encompassing, which was taking into event all sorts of discrimination. But section 3C introduction was completely discriminatory, as I just explained, because it was excluding the members of the general category. It was only drafted with an intention that one section of the society will be an oppressor, another section of the society will be oppressed. It had no empirical data, it had no instances, it had no reasonable nexus, it had no rationale
questionable, no ration behind it, and therefore on that basis it was challenged before the Honorable Supreme Court. We must also appreciate that Section 8 of the UGC regulations was also challenged before the Honorable Supreme Court, and Section 8 had given sweeping powers to the HEI committees, where they were given the power to direct the police authorities if such instances happen to move forward, and the criminal law should be set into motion. Now the point was this, that already the SC/ST Act is in operation. When SC/ST Act is in operation, if there is such kind of an event, then already the criminal law, criminal justice system can be set into motion by moving a complaint to the police authorities. So over and above bringing such a law which is completely superfluous and which is completely vague was hit by the provisions of Article 14, and on that pretext this law was challenged before the Honorable Apex Court.
Yes, Mr. Jain, just one last question before we let you go. So the next date is March 19th of the hearing. So what next from your side?
See, now the central government has to file their response so far as our petition is concerned. The other petitioners, because let me tell you, the Supreme Court was monitoring the working of UGC regulations 2012 from 2012. And it is in that drift of the matter that the new regulations were being deliberated upon. It was never the intention of the Honorable Supreme Court that the present regulations, which are in the present shape, that this kind of product will be the outcome of the Supreme Court's continuous monitoring. But be that as it may, when this kind of legislation has been carved out by the draftsman, it has been stayed by the Supreme Court. So in the near future, we will be giving us various instances and giving a complete holistic view of the matter before the Honorable Supreme Court.
All right, thank you for joining us. I Vishnu Shankar Jain, petitioner, counsel for the petitioner, and we'll be coming back to the story, viewers. Let's move ahead. We're getting some more breaking news coming in. 23 students reportedly fell ill after eating lunch served in midday meals. This is in Telangana. And the incident occurred at a government school in Venkatpura village. The students suffered vomiting and stomach pain due to suspected food poisoning. School staff immediately shifted the students to the government hospital. At the time of the incident, 40 students were present at the school. Food poisoning case. 23 students fall ill after midday meals in Telangana. After a few students complained of stomachache, other students were stopped from eating the meals. The students claimed that leftover food from a function was held, and that's when the food poisoning happened. I want to go across to my colleague. I think we have Ashwarya with us. Let's go to Ashwarya. 23 students have fallen ill. Now, of course, the focus would be on what really caused that food poisoning. Ashwarya, what are we learning of?
This particular incident happened in one of the villages here. Happened in villages because in Sangaradi in Telangana, because where almost 23 students after eating the midday meal fell ill. This teachers immediately took them to the hospital nearby. The total students who were present at that moment was 40. However, we are learning that there were 50 students who were enrolled in that particular school, and that is when initially when few students started to show some symptoms of vomiting and some students complained of stomachache. The other teacher noticed it, and she asked the other students who have not yet started eating or in their initial moment of eating, asked them to stop eating. And these particular 23 students were immediately shifted to the hospital for treatment. And one of the reasons that they were saying is that maybe suspecting is a possible food poisoning, because the food in the midday meals that were served, where the children are alleging that the soup and the rice was bought from one of the function that was held in the village. The leftovers from that function was brought to this particular school during the lunch time. And that is when this particular food poisoning occurred, and the case went and it almost affected 23 students now. The local MLA also visited the hospital, and he has inspected the officials there to look into this particular issue and how factually correct is that the food from the leftovers from the function was brought to the school for the children to eat. So this is something they are looking into, and he said that strict action will be taken against if this was something that was done again for the students.
All right, thank you for joining us with all those details, Ashwarya. I'll be coming back to you for more as we get more updates on that story. Let's move ahead. Maharashtra's Deputy CM Ajit Pawar's chartered plane crash-landed in Baramati on Jan 28. Now, the Ministry of Civil Aviation has now come out with a statement saying that the black box has been recovered and a time-bound probe is a top priority. Here's a report on all that we know so far.
Black box from the crashed charter plane in Baramati has been recovered. A day after Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar was killed in an unfortunate crash in Baramati, just meters away from the airstrip, Ministry of Civil Aviation has come out with an official statement. Aviation Ministry confirmed black box of the ill-fated aircraft has been recovered. Ministry assured that a time-bound inquiry remains a top priority. But here is what we found out in our investigation. DGCA sources told Republic that cockpit, voice recorder and flight data recorder reveal that pilot panicked right before the crash. Sources say voices from FDR include screaming, but no mayday or stress call was made by the pilot to the ATC. Captain only realized about wrong landing seconds before the crash. The crew's final point of contact was a local ground control managed by pilot cadets from 2 nearby private institutions. Here are the visuals from the crash site in Baramati. All 5 on board killed, and NDRF personnel and Maharashtra DGP at the crash site. Officials from DGC and forensics were also present. Pune Rural Police has now registered an accidental death report. The ADR report will be transferred to the Maharashtra CID, which will take over investigation based on findings from AAIB. Meanwhile, Learjet's parent company Bombardier did not comment on cause of the crash. Investigation is underway into the crash, but how long till AAIB comes out with a final report is the top question.
And viewers, on the second day of the budget session, Prime Minister Modi has hailed the EU-India FTA deal and said it's a great opportunity for Indian business. Take a look.
भारत और यूरोपियन यूनियन का फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट आने वाली दिशाएं कितनी उज्जवल है, भारत के युवाओं का भविष्य कितना उज्जवल है, उसकी एक झलक है। ये फ्री ट्रेड फॉर एम्बिशियस भारत है। ये फ्री ट्रेड फॉर एस्पिरेशनल यूथ है। ये फ्री ट्रेड फॉर आत्मनिर्भर भारत है। और मुझे पक्का विश्वास है, खास करके जो भारत के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं, वे इस अवसर को अपनी क्षमताएं बढ़ाने के लिए करेंगे। और मैं सभी प्रकार के उत्पादकों से यही कहूंगा कि जब भारत यूरोपियन यूनियन के बीच मदर ऑफ ऑल डील्स जिसको कहते हैं, वैसा समझौता हुआ है, तब मेरे देश के उद्योगकार, मेरे देश के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स अब तो बहुत बड़ा बाजार खुल गया। अब बहुत सस्ते में हमारा माल पहुंच जाएगा। इतने भाव से वो बैठे न रहे। ये एक अवसर है और इस अवसर का सबसे पहला मंत्र ये होता है कि हम क्वालिटी पर बल दें। हम अब जब बाजार खुल गया है तो उत्तम से उत्तम क्वालिटी लेकर के बाजार में जाएं।
The setback coming in for the government and relief for the protesters over UGC. The Supreme Court has stayed the new UGC rules, calling them vague and capable of being misused. We'll also bring you how Pakistan is trying to blackmail the ICC, but it is left with no options. It cannot afford a boycott, so it's now planning black armband protests during the World Cup. Can India allow that on Indian soil? Also, we bring you the latest update coming in as far as India's economy is concerned. Economic survey shows that Trump tariffs have had no bearing on Indian economy. It remains unfazed. More at 6 p.m. on 6 Stories at 6 with me, Rakshita.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और मसाला।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't got it. No, he debanked to me. So we'll see if that beeps anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanking. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fall to have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
The lawsuit, filed on Thursday, January 22nd in Miami-Dade County State Court, centers on a controversial practice known as debanking. The president alleges that the bank has systematically denied services to him and his associated businesses, not because of financial risk, but due to political bias. This isn't just a dispute over a checking account. This is a high-stakes legal battle that accuses the largest bank in the United States of trade libel, bad faith, and violating state consumer protection laws. The core of the complaint
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ, 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा, आर प्योर मसाला।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't got it. No, he debanked to me.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
राष्ट्रपति जी के एडीसी भव्य प्रांगण की ओर अग्रसर, जहां उन्हें राष्ट्रीय सैल्यूट दिया जाएगा और अपने 46 घुड़सवार अंगरक्षकों के साथ माननीय राष्ट्रपति जी विजय चौक की ओर प्रस्थान करेंगी। वो आज के समारोह की मुख्य अतिथि हैं।
The President of India, Srimati Draupadi Murmu, being escorted to the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan. The forecourt used for ceremonial reception of visiting heads of state and heads of government. The assembled President's bodyguard will receive their Supreme Commander, the President of India. For all ceremonial functions, the President of India is escorted by the President's bodyguard, and here we see, arriving to seat the President, is a historical mode of transport, a piece of history, still alive, still vibrant, still being celebrated, the presidential buggy.
ऐतिहासिक बग्गी इस मंच के सामने, जिसमें माननीय राष्ट्रपति जी प्रस्थान करेंगी। ये बग्गी 1950 में पहली बार भारत के प्रथम राष्ट्रपति डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद ने पहले गणतंत्र दिवस समारोह में इसका इस्तेमाल किया था। और इस ऐतिहासिक बग्गी को, जैसा हमने देखा, 6 अश्व खींचेंगे। सागौन की बनी हुई और सोना मढ़ी हुई ये बहुत ही विशेष सवारी दुनिया भर में बिल्कुल अलग स्थान रखती है। राष्ट्रपति जी के अंगरक्षक, रेजिमेंट के कमांडेंट कर्नल अमित बेरवाल और रेजिमेंट के सेकंड इन कमांड लेफ्टिनेंट कर्नल अंगद सिंह थिंड।
A very, very impressive piece of architecture and design, the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan. In fact, the dome that is the central piece and stands apart, that crowns Rashtrapati Bhavan, is one of the most distinctive features of the building, 55 meters above the level of the forecourt, with the national flag hoisted from the top. The central dome, in fact, is twice the height of the building, and here you can see at Vijay Chowk, carcades of dignitaries arriving. All will be ready then to receive the President of India.
गण्यमान्य व्यक्तियों की मौजूदगी से समारोह की शान बढ़ती है। एक एक करके आगमन हो रहा है भारत के सबसे महत्वपूर्ण व्यक्तियों का। जाना पहचाना ये कारों का काफिला धीरे धीरे विजय चौक पर सलामी मंच के नजदीक पहुंचता हुआ जन समूह में उत्सुकता बढ़ती हुई सभी की उत्सुकता और आगमन हो रहा है दुनिया के सबसे बड़े लोकतंत्र के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी का। उनकी अगवानी के लिए रक्षा मंत्री श्री राजनाथ सिंह मौजूद।
Raksha Mantri Shri Rajnath Singh being the first to greet Prime Minister Narendra Modi here at the venue. January coming to a close, the biting cold has given to a gentle chill, if there be such a phrase. The weather opening up, and today our eyes and ears are going to open up to sounds and colors of visual delight.
और इधर राष्ट्रपति जी का काफिला अब राष्ट्रपति भवन के मुख्य द्वार की ओर बढ़ता हुआ, ये मुख्य द्वार विशेष अवसरों पर खोला जाता है और जैसा कि हम देख सकते हैं ये जयपुर कॉलम राष्ट्रपति भवन के प्रांगण के मध्य में।
Jaipur column standing at a height of 145 feet. Words inscribed at the base of the Jaipur column, very, very inspirational. In thought, faith; in word, wisdom; in deed, courage; in life, service. So may India be great. The majestic gates of Rashtrapati Bhavan are a work of art in themselves. We can see them in the distance, and here, the clock ticking away, anticipation rising, and of course temperatures will fall when the sun sets, but here excitement writ large. The whole venue has big screens on which the visual images being beamed to you are also being beamed there, and they are going to capture some beautiful formations which gives you a bird's eye view of all the effort into the formation that the bands have put in, and the crowd periodically catches them there too.
विजय चौक आज शाम गतिविधियों का मंच है। विजय चौक आयोजन स्थल है बीटिंग रिट्रीट समारोह का, जिसका आयोजन हर वर्ष 29 जनवरी को रक्षा मंत्रालय द्वारा किया जाता है। इसमें भारतीय सेना के बैंड तालमेल और अनुशासन के साथ बीटिंग रिट्रीट की प्राचीन परंपरा को पूरी शान के साथ प्रस्तुत करते हैं। ये समारोह अतीत की याद ताज़ा करता है। समारोह के बाद सेनाओं के लौटने की इस परंपरा का जन्म युद्ध के मैदान में हुआ था। और इस समय विजय चौक पर आगमन हो रहा है देश के माननीय उपराष्ट्रपति जी श्री सीपी राधाकृष्णन का।
कुछ ही समय में सजीले शानदार घुड़सवार अंगरक्षकों के साथ
The arrival of the Vice President of India, Shri C.P. Radhakrishnan, here at Vijay Chowk.
माननीय राष्ट्रपति श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू जी का आगमन होगा। प्रेसिडेंट बॉडीगार्ड के कमांडेंट है कर्नल
Music and the military have always been historically intertwined. The use of music in war and peace times dates back to antiquity. Military bands are composed of professional soldiers and play at ceremonies, parades and public events. So the array of compositions lined up for performance today is varied, and the formations are synchronized seamlessly, very impressively. Here comes the President's cavalcade. Riding to the right of the President's buggy is the Commandant of the President's bodyguards, Colonel Amit Berwal, BSM. To the left of the President's buggy rides the second in command, Lieutenant Colonel Angad Singh Thind. The President's bodyguard, a unique airborne cavalry regiment. Their motto, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
और अब उनके बारे में भी बात हो जाए जिनका संगीत हम सुनने वाले हैं। आज के समारोह के प्रिंसिपल कंडक्टर यानी प्रधान संचालक स्क्वाड्रन लीडर लैमा पोकपम रूपा चंद्रा सिंह हैं, और ये बिगुल का उद्घोष जो संकेत है कि आगमन हो रहा है तीनों सेनाओं की सर्वोच्च कमांडर, देश की प्रथम नागरिक, भारत की माननीय राष्ट्रपति जी का। सादगी और भव्यता भी। गणतंत्र के उत्सव अनोखे हैं। इन्हें मनाने की परंपरा का निर्वहन हर बार और बेहतर बनाने की भावना से किया जाता है। आगमन हो रहा है देश की प्रथम नागरिक, माननीय राष्ट्रपति श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू का, तीनों सेनाओं की सर्वोच्च कमांडर।
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी माननीय राष्ट्रपति जी के स्वागत के लिए उपस्थित। The
crowd standing up to see a glimpse of the President of India as she arrives. And now that the President has arrived, the President's bodyguard will present the national salute. The tricolour will be unfurled to the playing of the national anthem. And once the President's bodyguard exit the square, that will be the entry cue for the bands to begin their performance, and Vijay Chowk or Victory Square will hold in its wide embrace the synergy between marching and melody, lifting performance to a higher level of perfection.
सलामी देंगे। राष्ट्रीय सलूट बंदर तक। सभी से आग्रह, कृपया अपने अपने स्थान पर बैठ जाएं। अब प्रेसिडेंट बॉडीगार्ड यहां से प्रस्थान करेंगे। तत्पश्चात बीटिंग रिट्रीट 2026 आरंभ होगा। और अब कुछ ही पलों में एक उनके उद्घोष के साथ कदम से कदम मिलाते शेरे हिंद नेताजी के संकल्पों को दोहराते तीनों सेनाओं एवं केंद्रीय सशस्त्र पुलिस बलों के मिलिट्री बैंड्स विजय चौक की ओर अग्रसर होते नजर आएंगे।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, मसाला।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't got it. No, it debanked to me. So we'll see if that beats anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanking. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fall to have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
New UGC norms, bad politics or misstep? Why did BJP open up the caste wedge? Does this prove that bureaucrats are running the government? Arnab's debate at 9 p.m.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे.
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't got it. No, it debanked to me. So we'll see if that beats anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanking. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fall to have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
The lawsuit, filed on Thursday, January 22nd in Miami-Dade County State Court, centers on a controversial practice known as debanking. The president alleges that the bank has systematically denied services to him and his associated businesses, not because of financial risk, but due to political bias. This isn't just a dispute over a checking account. This is a high-stakes legal battle that accuses the largest bank in the United States of trade libel, bad faith, and violating state consumer protection laws. The core of the complaint is that J.P. Morgan Chase violated Florida's deceptive trade practices law.
from Asia's largest news headquarters. Setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
ट्रेन को ले जाने की आज्ञा दे महोदया।
The sounding of the retreat, signaling the imminent closure of today's ceremony. The national flag being lowered and folded with dignity, due protocol and respect to be taken away for safekeeping, and permission being granted by the President to conclude the ceremony.
रिट्रीट धुन और उसके बाद राष्ट्रीय ध्वज को उतारकर सम्मान के साथ ले जाया जा रहा है। समारोह के प्रिंसिपल कंडक्टर ने राष्ट्रपति जी से अनुमति ली और वो अब बैंड वादकों के साथ यहां से प्रस्थान करेंगे। ये सदियों पुरानी सैन्य परंपरा का खूबसूरत निर्वहन आज इस बीटिंग रिट्रीट समारोह में।
Senses replete with the sights and sounds we heard today. The evening settling in. The conclusion of the beating retreat ceremony here in New Delhi marks the official conclusion of our 77th Republic Day celebrations. India, as a democratic republic, once again showcases the power and value of democracy in the comity of nations. And your screens light up with the brilliance of colors, the colors of nationhood, the colors of democracy.
शानदार सैन्य संगीत के बाद अब प्रकाश का साम्राज्य, गणतंत्र का उत्सव अपने रंगों में और भी चमकीला। बदलते भारत में समृद्ध और सशक्त भारत की तस्वीर का ये खूबसूरत उदाहरण। रोशनी और रंगों में नहाई हुई ये ऐतिहासिक इमारतें, भव्य बीटिंग रिट्रीट समारोह।
The gloriously lit evening sky closing the day on a celebratory high. The sky embracing the dark and the day. The colors of celebration showing the way. A brief over-the-shoulder look into the past. The future will unfold only too fast. So let's celebrate today together, living, lingering and laughing, wanting to make these moments last.
रोशनी से तस्वीरें बदल जाती हैं, रोशनी से तकदीरें भी बदल जाती हैं। हमारी ऐतिहासिक इमारतें इस समय रोशनी से नहाई हुई। विजय चौक के आसपास ये इमारतें नॉर्थ ब्लॉक, साउथ ब्लॉक, और अंधेरा तभी तक है जब तक रोशनी नहीं है। बाईं ओर ये साउथ ब्लॉक, बीच में राष्ट्रपति भवन का गुंबद और दाहिनी ओर नॉर्थ ब्लॉक। रोशनी का ये खूबसूरत मंजर।
सलामी देंगे। राष्ट्रीय सलूट। बंदर तक।
bodyguard have arrived and now will escort President Draupadi Murmu back to her official residence, the Rashtrapati Bhavan.
7 नवंबर 2025
Corridor of power,
राष्ट्रगीत वंदे मातरम की 150
the corridor of governance, illuminated with the surroundings. In complete harmony, a gentle breeze still picking up the sights and the sounds that enthralled an audience here today.
जन जन के कल्याण के संकल्प इसी विचार पर टिके हैं कि सबके जीवन से अंधकार को मिटाया जाए। जैसे जैसे रोशनी बढ़ती जाएगी, तस्वीर और तकदीर बदलती जाएगी।
The evening's cloak of inky velvet, embellished with the colors of diversity, an adoring audience showering love, patriotism and admiration.
कर्तव्य पथ के पूर्वी छोर पर वो इंडिया गेट और इधर विजय चौक के पूरब की ओर साउथ ब्लॉक जगमगाया हुआ, नहाया हुआ रोशनी में, और इधर ये नॉर्थ ब्लॉक की तस्वीरें।
The colors of celebration becoming one with the air. The air, the wind, the breeze taking the message all across that India, though held strong by its ancient roots, has spread its wings to take off, bearing in their span the aspirations of a young population, a vibrant democracy, and inherent creativity. The world is our family. We are interconnected and interdependent.
कर्तव्य पथ जगमगाया हुआ, विजय चौक से एक तरफ इंडिया गेट और दूसरी तरफ राष्ट्रपति भवन। प्रकाश का साम्राज्य और जन समूह में बहुत उत्साह, उमंग और जोश। ये रंग और ये रोशनी हमारे गणतंत्र की। विजय चौक से अब प्रस्थान कर रही हैं माननीय राष्ट्रपति श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू ऐतिहासिक बग्घी में। आज के इस सफल और सार्थक बीटिंग रिट्रीट समारोह के बाद
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
Thank you, no, I haven't stopped it. No, deep to me. So we'll see if that beeps anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be deep-banked. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fall to have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
The lawsuit, filed on Thursday, January 22nd in Miami-Dade.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी एमडीएच का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप एमडीएच का जल जीरा सिप जीरा सिप एमडीएच का जल जीरा सिप।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't gone. No, he debanked to me. So we'll see if that beats anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanking. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fall to have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
The lawsuit, filed on Thursday, January 22nd in Miami-Dade County State Court, centers on a controversial practice known as debanking. The president alleges that the bank has systematically denied services to him and his associated businesses, not because of financial risk, but due to political bias.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Amity University has been ranked India's #1 university for business and economics and the #1 private university for computer science by Times Higher Education Subject Rankings 2026, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked standards in education.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो, मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस हेल्दी एवरीडे।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
In a major escalation between the White House and Wall Street, President Donald Trump has filed a massive lawsuit against one of the world's most powerful financial institutions. The president is suing J.P. Morgan Chase and its CEO, Jamie Dimon, seeking at least $5 billion in damages.
No, I haven't gone. No, he debanked to me. So we'll see if that beats anything, but I think it should. You shouldn't be debanking. Get debanked if you don't have money or if you fall to have this great company, and all of a sudden I was told, no, you can't do that. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I don't know what their excuse would be. Maybe their excuse would be the regulators. I don't know. But regardless, I guess it's a good lawsuit because every pundit has come out and said Trump has a great lawsuit here. You're not allowed to do what they did. Jamie Dimon, what he did, he's not allowed to do that.
The lawsuit, filed on Thursday, January 22nd in Miami-Dade County State Court, centers on a controversial practice known as debanking. The president alleges that the bank has systematically denied services to him and his associated businesses, not because of financial risk, but due to political bias. This isn't just a dispute over a checking account. This is a high-stakes legal battle that accuses the largest bank in the United States of trade libel, bad faith, and violating state consumer protection laws. The core of the complaint is that J.P. Morgan Chase violated Florida's deceptive trade practices law. The legal team for the president argues that Florida law explicitly prohibits financial institutions.
UGC rules stayed by Supreme Court, setback for government relief for protesters. UGC new rules must be re-examined, directs the Supreme Court, flagging complete vagueness in the rules that make those prone to misuse. Pakistan Cricket Board plans Colombo departure, effectively rules out T20 World Cup or India match boycott. World Cup now turns into a joke as Bangladesh media questions Pakistan's participation in the T20 World Cup. Rupee hits all-time low of 92 against the US dollar. And Delhi High Court asks for DGCA's response on norms for pilot rests.
All right, friends, let's begin with the top story from the headlines, which is the Pakistan Cricket Board is preparing to escalate its protests over Bangladesh's removal, of course, inciting Dhaka to not participate in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026, reportedly planning to send a second formal letter to the ICC, but duplicity, double standards and hypocrisy of the PCB coming out. It says that if Pakistan participates in the tournament, its players may wear black armbands, but they would participate nevertheless because it's about money. Meanwhile, Iceland has taken a hilarious jibe at Pakistan. Now Pakistan also seems to be double-crossing Bangladesh because initially they incited Bangladesh by saying that they would boycott in support of Bangladesh. Now they say they would play because it's about money, but they would wear black armbands. The question is, why should ICC allow that? Obviously, it would not. And so it's likely that Pakistan might get chucked out and Iceland might be coming in its place, just as Scotland is playing in lieu of Bangladesh. All right, Rakshita is live with us from the studios. Rakshita, what do you make out of this Pakistani position now? You think ICC would allow Pakistan to wear armbands and play at the same time?
Well, there have been instances in the past when there have been maybe taking a knee, that has been the protest. There have been protests like the black arm protest as well. But a team needs clearance from the ICC. When it came to a protest against Gaza, when it came protests in support of Palestine, we saw what happened with Usman Khawaja of South Africa. Usman Khawaja wore the black armband and he was fined for that. Similarly, back in 2003, we saw Zimbabwe's Olonga also facing the rules and being punished for that. So this weaponization of cricket should not be ideally allowed by the ICC. Pakistan is left with no options. It cannot afford the financial fallout of a boycott, be it the boycott of one match that is against India or boycott of the entire tournament. And henceforth, it resorts to those letters being written showing solidarity for Bangladesh for what we do not know. It has no grounds to in fact justify a protest or a boycott boycott. So yes, we have to wait and watch if the ICC does react to it. There's no official statement as far as the Pakistan Cricket Board seeking a black armband protest is concerned. But remember, it's playing matches first in Sri Lanka, and then if it qualifies for if it advances, then in India. But question, of course, remains: can we allow that armband protest on Indian soil?
Well, obviously, it should not be allowed. But if Pakistan, opts not to play, then the cost is entirely theirs. The loss is entirely theirs. Let's look at some of the details of how it works out. All right, let's play the story and how it plays out if the Pakistanis decide to stay out of the tournament.
Pakistan preparing a symbolic protest at the T20 World Cup. Pakistani players are to wear black armbands to protest ICC's handling of Bangladesh's pullout. However, even this protest needs clearance from the ICC. The developments come after Bangladesh pulled out of the tournament, citing security concerns. The ICC acted as per rules. It replaced Bangladesh to protect the tournament. Scotland was brought in. The competition moved forward. Pakistan says the ICC showed double standards. PCB is also set to send a second letter to the ICC questioning its approach in dealing with the matter. But the ICC maintains Bangladesh withdrew voluntarily. No one was expelled. Still, Pakistan wants to turn the World Cup into a protest platform. Pakistan's own participation is also under question. PCB chairman Mohsin Naqvi posted on social media that a final decision regarding Pakistan's participation will be taken later this week. Interestingly, despite that, Pakistan team is set to depart for Colombo on Monday. Competition venues are ready. India is ready. Sri Lanka is ready. The tournament is ready. The ICC has made one thing clear: the World Cup will go on. If Pakistan pulls out, it loses revenue. A possible loss of around 317 crore Indian rupees. It loses viewership. It loses global relevance. The World Cup will not stop. Cricket will continue.
All right, friends, moving on to the next story. An important one, in fact, is the primetime debate. The Supreme Court stayed the UGC guidelines, which on the face of it, or prima facie, as the top court found, go against the principles of equality. And in terms of the provisions that they made insofar as the general category is concerned, it excluded any legal remedy available to the general category. In fact, this happens amidst strong protests happening across the country, particularly the states of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and the general category students protesting the implementation of these new guidelines that came out on January 13th, just ahead of the Supreme Court hearing. The court house, in fact, has found them to be not in sync with the constitutional requirements of equality and equity. That's why I stayed them. Let's listen to what the lawyer from the petitioner's side had to say. Vineet Jindal there speaking to our correspondent.
Says any discrimination with SC, ST and OBC community, and the general category has been left out of it. So this rules has specifically kind of give a message like the general category people has been harassing or has been discriminate SC, ST and OBC community, which is wrong. So we have put this argument before the CGI, and CGI appreciated this argument and specifically states if this kind of rule would be framed, it is a very harsh and very dangerous precedent for the society and could be demolish the social structure of the society. So our constitution says to give any creed or the people who is related to any creed or any religion and any caste same stays, but here, by virtue of these rules, it should be demolished by these people, and I think it should be amended. So the CGI is specifically talking about formation of a committee in which he has been suggested to indulge some accommodation, legal experts, and some social workers to see these rules, and whatever the changes would be needed, it should be needed, what he suggested now.
In fact, the student community has welcomed this development of the Supreme Court staying the UGC guidelines or the new ones. Let's listen to some of those voices. Our correspondent Sarthak spoke to them.
भाई बांट रहे हैं आप लोग, खुशी है?
बहुत खुशी है। मैं माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय का ये जो फैसला है उसका मैं गहरे दिल से और तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा भी करना चाहूँगा और उसका स्वागत भी करता हूँ। जो भी ये यूजीसी काला कानून जो सरकार द्वारा लागू किया गया था, ये कहीं ना कहीं हम छात्र के बीच में जो है वो आपसी मतभेद पैदा कर रहा था।
सीजीआई ने कहा है कि भाषा में संशोधन की जरूरत है। आप लोग क्या देखते हैं, क्या मानते हैं, क्या कुछ बदलाव और चाहते हैं, या नियम आए या ना आए पूरी तरीके से खत्म हो जाए, क्या चाहते हैं?
सर, हम तो चाहते हैं कि ये नियम है इस पर या फिर उचित परिवर्तन किया जाए, जो कि किसी एक जात या जात विशेष को देख के न किया जाए, छात्रों को समान रखा जाए। सरकार कहीं ना कहीं अपने आप को एकदम पावरफुल समझ चुकी है। वो समझ चुकी है कि हम जो भी मनाएगा वो छात्रों के ऊपर थोप देंगे। तो उसके लिए हम कहना चाहेंगे कि बहुत चंद्रशेखर प्रधानमंत्री उन्होंने भी सदन में कहा था कि जिन हाथों में शक्ति भरी है राज तिलक देने की, उन्हीं हाथों में शक्ति है सर उतार लेने की। तो भाजपा को इस बात से सतर्क रहना चाहिए कि छात्र को आपस में लड़ाकर वो जो राजनीति खेल रहे हैं, ये कहीं ना कहीं छात्र हितों पे बहुत बड़ा असर करेगी और ये समाज को बहुत पीछे छोड़कर आगे, मतलब समाज को आगे ले जाने में बहुत विरोध पैदा करेगी।
क्या इस पर राय है आपकी? मानते हैं कि नियमों में बदलाव और हो या फिर नियम ही खत्म हो जाए, क्या चाहते हैं?
देखिए, या तो नियम खत्म हो जाए, अगर नियम ऐसे बने तो नियम में ये भी हो कि जो गलत आरोप, जैसे अखिलेश यादव का, मैं किसी राजनीतिक दल का समर्थक नहीं हूँ, लेकिन अखिलेश यादव का जो बयान था उस बयान का मैं समर्थन करता हूँ कि निर्दोषी बचे नहीं और दोषी बचे नहीं और निर्दोषी फंसे नहीं।
All right, moving on, the Kapoor family drama has just taken another twist, and this time the spotlight is on Rani Kapoor, the matriarch of the family. The widow of late industrialist, the mother of late industrialist Sanjay Kapoor, Rani has knocked on the doors of the Delhi High Court. She has claimed that a family trust named after her was nothing but a fraudulent scheme designed to cut her out of her rightful assets, following which the Delhi High Court has issued summons to Priya Kapoor, seeking the cancellation of the Rani Kapoor family trust, valued at several thousand crores. Here are more details.
The Delhi High Court issued summons today in a suit moved by late industrialist Sanjay Kapoor's mother Rani Kapoor against her daughter-in-law Priya Sachdev. She has alleged that her entire estate and family legacy were unlawfully diverted into the trust without her knowledge or consent.
The case before the Delhi High Court is of an 80-year-old grieving mother who for years has been asking her son, then after the untimely demise of her son, from the daughter-in-law, the company and officials of the company for answers. All of her inquiries have been met with silence. The case filed by Mrs. Karishma Kapoor is challenging the will of Mr. Sanjay Kapoor. The case that Mrs. Rani Kapoor has filed here today is regarding the trust, which deals with the entire legacy of the Kapoor family.
Apart from Priya Sachdev, the Delhi High Court has issued summons to 23 other defendants named by Rani Kapoor in her plea. These include her grandchildren Samaira Kapoor and Kian Kapoor, children of late Sanjay Kapoor and his former wife, actor Karisma Kapoor. Rani Kapoor has further accused Sanjay Kapoor's widow of being the chief mastermind behind the move.
The will issue was raised by the children of Sanjay Kapoor from the marriage with Karishma Kapoor. उसमें रानी कपूर मैडम डिफेंड नंबर 3 हैं उसमें जो उनका स्टैंड है, जो आप सब जानते हैं, जो उन्होंने रिटन स्टेटमेंट में कहा, तो उन्होंने संजय कपूर को बहुत ही अच्छा काबिल बच्चा बताया और जो उनका ख्याल रखता था। इस सूट में उन्होंने अपना सारा स्टैंड चेंज कर दिया है। वी अंडरस्टैंड ये क्यों हो रहा है, वी ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड हु इज़ गेटिंग ऑल ऑफ दिस डन। सो इसमें उन्होंने कहा है कि संजय कपूर कंस्पायर्ड विद प्रिया कपूर, विच इज़ एब्सोल्युटली अ रॉन्ग स्टेटमेंट एंड शी हैज़ कॉन्ट्रडिक्टेड हरसेल्फ इन द पीरियड ऑफ 1 or 2 months। अभी तो उनका सूट, ऑनरेबल कोर्ट हैज़ नॉट बीन पास द ऑर्डर्स इन दैट सूट ऑन द मिसलेनियस एप्लीकेशन। उसी दौरान इन्होंने ये केस डाल दिया है विद डिफरेंट फैक्ट्स। सो हमें भी दिख रहा है, सब देख रहे हैं। बाकी ऑनरेबल कोर्ट के सामने हम ये सारे जो फैक्ट्स हैं वो रखेंगे अपने रिप्लाई में, एंड वी विल आर्ग्यू ऑन 23rd March नाउ।
She has also claimed that she was made to sign documents without being properly informed of their contents or legal implications, and that some documents were signed in blank. And now, the court has asked all parties to file their replies and listed the case for further hearing in April. The suit was filed days after the Delhi